I've been seeing people talking a lot about this, and I just feel the need to clarify why Bidadari or Woodley has bendy bus slots, like this new bus interchange integrated transport hub. So to put it simply, before Woodley was even named Woodley, its tentative name was called Bidadari. And when this ITH was proposed, I would estimate around the late 2000s to like early 2010s. During this point of time, LTA was still like sane. And back then, everything was like public transport operator controlled and not controlled by LTA. And in fact, the bus routes were managed by PTC, like pre-bus contracting model thing, the one that they imported from London. So this one, just to clarify, back then, the LTA of that time was still okay. But right now, the normal staff, they want bendies. But the bosses hate them. So even if the normal staff, they want to propose, they want to procure more bendy buses, they have to go through the bosses because it's a really top-down organization. And this organization has like a history of like, sucking up to the incumbents when it comes to like political stuff and stuff like that. So because of that, there is a lot of like red tape and bureaucracy. And what I mean by that is that like I have seen like people from SBS Transit, like the ones who do the timetables. It's like the people inside LTA. Oh my gosh, it's like they even like pester those people on weekends to reply their emails ASAP or to take their calls. And then they brand everything as urgent, even though they're inefficient and it's not really like even urgent in the first place. And when you don't respond on your off day, you're not even working on that day, it's your off day, they would scold you. Yes, SBS Transit, even if you're a high ranking staff, you would be scolded by LTA for like the dumbest of reasons. That is simply how this organization operates. And these people are the culprit for like this kind of culture. So that's the whole backstory about the shenanigans and how that crazy old man even became the deputy director of like the bus assets, the one who manages like the procurement of buses and the one responsible for all the ridiculous rules for buses. So to put it simply, when you plan like a new bus interchange, uh, it actually takes quite a lot of years. You have to do like, all those feasibility studies. You have to be like, oh, which area should we put like the new interchanges at? Near MRT station, or is it near a major hub? Like, doesn't necessarily have to be an MRT station, but it's just near a major hub where a lot of like the buses tend to pass by, or like near amenities and stuff like that. Hospitals, polyclinics, nowadays they love to integrate everything, like, I don't know, a whole mall, a condo, a polyclinic, everything into one consolidated area. And that's the reason why the bus interchanges are small, because the private developers or URA often at times they don't even allocate enough space, and there's nothing that LTA can do about it because profits are everything. They don't even allocate enough space for like the bus interchange in itself, and that's kind of the reason why they all happen to be really small, or it could be like cut cost. But because these interchanges are planned, I mean the ones now are planned before that madman even stepped into office. They were planned, like I said, in the late 2000s and early 2010s. So it's like the blueprint in itself is from that era. And when you finalize the blueprint and then you send it out to the contractor and stuff like that, when you, the architect or whoever who like designs the building and stuff like that, you have to finalize everything, and then you have to tell them your requirements, like, oh, how many what is that, square feet, square kilometers per hour. No, square kilometers. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is why I hate math and I will never become an architect. uh, Square kilometers, or like km square, meter square. Like basically, yes, they need to know like how big the bus interchange is, or I'm just gonna draw to like help you guys visualize. It's like how many bus lots do you have? Like let's say you have, sawtooth berths or like end-on berths, and then you have like a whole dedicated area to like park bendy buses, or stuff like that. The thing is, yes, you can definitely redraw the lots, especially after like the whole bus interchange has been fully constructed, completed. It is deemed safe for operations, for like public use and stuff like that. Yeah, but when you submit the blueprint, it is finalized. It's like you're not able to tell the contractor like last minute that, oh, I want this change, I want that change, because if you do so, there is a risk that you would compromise the entire structural integrity of the place, especially if you like, oh, I don't want these bendy bus lots anymore, or I want to add more bendy bus lots, I want the interchange to be bigger, or stuff like that. There is like this whole back and forth discussion, and that's the reason. I mean, like stakeholders like fighting for land area. It's like, I want this to be retail, I want this to be for the bus interchange, or stuff like that, because of this like back and forth fighting amongst these government, what do you call that, it's like the utility boards. They like fight back and forth. It takes a long time, and this is why even after like 10 years or so, the interchanges that are popping out now, despite that madman uh not liking minibuses, I mean, the more accurate way to describe this is that these interchanges are like a remnant. It's like they are remnants of the blueprints from an earlier era that have been left untouched, because it is dangerous to make sudden changes to the design of a building and stuff like that. I mean, I don't even have to say this, it's like common sense. And the reason why I'm even like talking about this is because when people see like bendy bus slots in Bidadari, they are like, "Oh my gosh, just solidifies all the whole like 53 shortening to Bidadari rumor. Oh, because there are bendy bus slots." I'm telling you, no. These bendy bus slots are there not because of 53. They are. I mean, even if 53, for some reason, let's say the rumors from the bus captains turns out true, that like 53 gets amended here, the whole cause and effect of things is like completely wrong. They didn't send 53. It's like they wouldn't send 53 to Bidadari just like, oh, because there's bendy bus slots and I want to put bendy buses on 53. No, that's not the point. The point is that the reason why the bendy bus slots are even inside Bidadari or like Woodley ITH in the first place is because of history. It's remnants of the old LTA infrastructure like planning team, and the so-called blueprint has been left untouched. Like, think about it. They're not gonna cut one bus like this just to accommodate bendy buses. Come on. I mean, as much as I like bendy buses, I have to admit that like operationally there should be a maximum of like 200 to 250, or even in the worst case scenario 100 to 150, because not even Japan spams bendy buses like this. And not just that, even like the theoretical maximum I would say is 400. I have seen people like requesting, oh, Singapore must have like 700 bendy buses, which is like completely delusional, because your depots and your interchanges, there is just not enough space to accommodate like that many buses. It's not just because, oh, bendy buses are longer. No, you just physically don't have enough space to like accommodate so many buses, so many high capacity buses. And therefore, you shouldn't like go around spamming bendy buses on trunk routes just because you claim that it's like, oh my gosh, it's cyclic demand. It's like, stuff like that. You shouldn't. It's like, you should prioritize the bendy buses for feeder buses or the buses that really have those pax flow at major MRT stations. It's like, don't waste your bendy buses on the trunk services if said trunk service doesn't really even require them in the first place. The trunk services that require bendy buses are like 184, 859, 962. I'm just giving out a few examples, but yeah, you have to manage them properly. And sending 53 to Bidadari just to accommodate bendy buses is, again, like I was saying, it's quite stupid. Let's just take a look at this so that you guys actually finally understand what I'm saying. So 53, currently, its route is like this. And then there is like, oh my gosh, it's kind of untidy. This is 53's route. And then 53M, obviously, it loops like this. If you snip off this entire sector, like theoretically speaking, all you have left is 58. Like from here, from here, like this. See, even within Serangoon, the catchment for 53, or even 24 for that matter, they are outside. 53 goes inside Lorong Chuan. And then obviously 58 goes inside Lorong Chuan. The catchment is different. And then when all these international schools and Nanyang Junior College during their dismissal time, 58 gets full to door. Not just 105, but 58 as well. So, and then 58, obviously it goes down here. So again, the catchment is different. If you snip off this entire part of the route, you're left with 58. So if Circle Line just poofs out, you have no other bus option than 58, and you're gonna strain the service. Like 58, I know they boost it during peak hours, but like even during peak hours, it's not uncommon to see like 19 to 20 minute frequencies simply because there's like way too many passengers like boarding and alighting the bus, and then it slows the service down. And because of that, that's how these irregular frequencies even become a thing, even during peak hours on 58. So in short, there is a reason why 53 and 58, both of them go from Bishan to Serangoon. There's a reason why there's two and not just one. And the other thing is, if you cut it to Bidadari, like how are you even gonna cut it? Like Lorong Asu, Upper Paya Lebar Road. I mean, the most realistic way I can think of this is Boundary Road, Serangoon Central, and I already foresee that people are gonna complain because you would have to like I don't know, like send 53M in the other direction instead, and then what are you gonna do? Like Serangoon Avenue 1 and Bidadari Park Drive, or like Upper Serangoon Road? It's like, even route wise, it doesn't like really make too much sense. And the only way that you can compensate this is if you extend 53M and then renumber it something else so that it covers the entire like Bishan sector over here. I don't know, like over like this. Unless you extend 53M like this, which again, it isn't really the best solution, I would say, to this. You're just opening another can of worms if you just cut 53 like this. Because it's like, the people along here, or even here, I would just say this general area. When it comes to like airport access, they have 53, and then along this area, Ang Mo Kio Avenue 1, Lorong Chuan Boundary Road, they have 24. And they cannot just depend on 24. Because 24, it like goes down Paya Lebar and then it parallels the EWL, which can be slow. So 53 is actually faster when it comes to like a direct bus to Changi Airport. It's not just Changi Airport, it's like you cut off access from this area to places like Pasir Ris Drive 1. Because 58 only serves like Pasir Ris West and 53 covers the entire Drive 1. You're just like cutting off their direct access just to send this thing to Bidadari. It makes no sense. And the reason why, because even after CRL/E becomes a thing, 53 would still get demand, is because you have to remember that CRL touches Hougang. CRL touches Defu. CRL does not touch the lower part of like Lorong Asu and Serangoon and Bishan. That alone will explain why people would choose to take 53, especially if they have luggage. They want a direct bus route. A bus ride, sorry. A direct bus route is technically correct as well, but okay. And then from this area, historically it went Tampines Road, but it goes to KPE and then TPE, and then it cuts through the entire Pasir Ris Drive 1. And you have to take note that not every single part of Drive 1 is served by CRL or CRLE. And 53 is like a doorstep bus service from Pasir Ris Drive 1, and I mean like the entire stretch of Pasir Ris Drive 1 to the airport. Okay, this is Loyang Avenue, and then like to the airport. I'll tell you why as well. Because if you take East-West line and then you change like what, downtown line, and then you change East-West line up again, it's just a lot of hassle for yourself. And even if you change to Tanah Merah, you're like going down and then going back up. Geographically, that makes no sense. And not just that, Cross Island Line from Pasir Ris, it goes through one big detour to Terminal 5, and then you still have to transfer to another train to reach Changi Airport's terminals 1 to 3 or even like 4. Again, that's the reason why 53 even gets so much demand in the first place. It's like from this area, they have like direct access to Pasir Ris Drive 1, which then again also has direct access to like Changi Airport. That's why 53 gets demand in the first place, and the reason why CRL would never beat it. And it's not just like people that are like flying out of the island. People who work at Changi Airport, especially the basement, they would benefit from like 53, especially if it takes them to your doorstep, be it said doorstep being at like Pasir Ris Drive 1 or like at Defu, Hougang Avenue 1, Lorong Asu, Upper Paya Lebar Road, Upper Serangoon Road, Serangoon Central, Lorong Chuan, Ang Mo Kio Avenue 1, Bishan Road, Bishan Street 14, or whatever. I mean like doorstep. And the whole geographical thing is the same reason why it makes no sense to kill off 36 once TL goes to the airport. I mean like, can you imagine like taking TL from airport, then you have to change at that stupid place called Marina Bay, and the access penalty is like quite bad. It's actually easier to go through CCL rather than like making the TL to NSL transfer. But again, it's like access penalty, like to like go to Orchard. Cause it's like you could take TL direct to Orchard, but it's only Orchard. Somerset and Dhoby Ghaut, you have to take NSL. And not just that. From like Raffles Hotel and Suntec City, there is this one big area that's not served by any MRT other than like CCL. Because it's like, again, even CCL is the same logic. Geographically speaking, you're like going down and then coming up again. You're like going down and then coming up again. Whereas you have one direct bus service 36 that just cuts through like this, and with 36 going to Marine Parade, of course. I mean, like this. It's supposed to be along the same line as TL. People from when TL poofs out, obviously 36 would be the only link from Marine Parade to Changi Airport. And you have to remember that like not every single area in Marine Parade is like served by TL. Not just that. Marine Parade, they get like direct access to Suntec, Raffles Hotel, Dhoby Ghaut, Somerset, Orchard. Obviously they will take 36, they won't take MRT. That is the same reason why 53, despite MRT, it's still going to survive. Whether it needs bendy buses or not is another thing, but this is why it's going to survive. And the whole link between this and the issue I brought up previously is because 36 and 53, they survive because it's doorstep. If you take away the doorstep from this area and then you send it down to Bidadari, Woodley, you're not helping the service. But here's the thing. Let's not talk about 53. If you get rid of the problematic LTA bosses and just change the entire like working culture, which takes years or even decades to change it, like the way it is currently, you could technically put the bendy bus slots at Bidadari to use. The reason why the bendy bus slots are even there in the first place is because back then the routes were managed by PTC and LTA just like provides the interchanges. So since SMRT back then they run bendy buses, so if SMRT wants to run like a new bus route to Bidadari in like the 2010s or like 2000s or 2010s era, if SMRT wanted to send a bendy bus route to Bidadari, they could make use of the bendy bus lots. They just like have to send their approval to PTC and then PTC would take care of everything. That's the reason why because back then it is not controlled by LTA, so that's why every single interchange, as long as there is demand for an operator to potentially send a new service into that specific new interchange, they provide bendy bus slots for that very purpose. It's like you can even say Pasir Ris, Punggol Coast, Buangkok, uh, Bidadari Woodley, Marina Center Terminal, and all these new interchanges. That's the reason why they even have the bendy bus slot provisions. It's in case, it's like back then, in case the operators ever need them, ever like they want to like they want to propose having a bendy bus service that goes into a specific interchange, then yes, they have the bendy bus slots. It is just a remnant from that era. But again, as I've said, if all the problematic people could be good, if you could get rid of the problematic people in LTE this easily, then yes, you could make use of those bendy bus slots. I'm just saying.